Let's move on to our next segment, which is open source. And Chris, I want you to tell us and the people out there a little bit about what it was like to kind of be on the ground at the Samsung event. As you hinted at earlier, in the past, they've been kind of weird spectacles. Mm-hmm. And it seems like the S8 event was a little bit more toned down than your usual Samsung.
It seemed like a spectacle of a lot of people, though.
Yeah. I mean, so we were fortunate enough because we were crazy people who woke up at like 7 and then like showed up at the line at 8. So we were basically within the first 10 people walking in.
The event started at what time?
The event started at 11 in the morning.
Okay.
So we stood in line for like 2 hours, which is par for the course when you do this. It's part of the fun. You mingle with your
part
rivals.
Of the fun?
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
But Dana's shaking her head vigorously at me.
In nice weather, maybe it's part of the fun. Where you get to like hang out and like talk shop with people, but it wasn't really particularly nice yesterday morning, was it?
It wasn't. So it wasn't great at first. It was cold and dreary, and you could tell for most people in the line, their souls were just sort of like exiting their bodies. Like they had to reach out and grab them and shove them back in before actually going back inside. But I mean, I couldn't really put a number on how many people showed up. They did fill most of the David Geffen Theater at Lincoln Hall, which is not a small space.
I mean, I can find out how many people.
Please do
while you talk.
So obviously a ton of journalists. The line to get in once everyone kind of filtered inside was, Dana, to your point, frankly insane. I posted an Instagram about it, and
you were all basically in a sardine can.
We were in a sardine can. That was the bottom floor. Keep in mind that there were still like 2 extra tiers. So no one made it very clear to us where we were supposed to go. So we just like went up some stairs, and then we saw other people going up more stairs. So we went up more stairs, and it wasn't long at all before those tiers were completely packed too. It's the show itself was considerably less spectacular. It very much reminded me of the Note 7 event from last year. So you've got this like last year you had like the screen sort of extending out into the floor. This year it's kind of like reaching out above you. So it does really tie into their whole like unbox the phone philosophy. Mm-hmm. But there were very few moments where it felt actively weird. Like there was one towards the end where everyone gets a free Gear 360 and everyone's like understandably very jazzed about it. And then right at the end, they play like the final video, like the closer video. And when the lights come up, you see people in white shirts, Samsung employees, I guess, sort of in the aisles doing this like tribal dance as if to say, yeah, this is time. We're going to go play with some phones. I've got some phones. I'm holding some phones. I'm going to dance. I'm going to dance in front of you.
Okay,
I'm
so
going to dance
weird.
next to you. Yeah, it felt so cultish, which, I mean, I guess worked. Like people ate it up. But we were up at a balcony and no one was dancing near us, so we were able to be a little more objective about what was going on. It was strange.
It's funny because I was about the words that were about to come out of my mouth were, "Oh, Samsung events aren't that weird. It's just that they're being compared to Apple, which is a very specific way of doing things." Mm-hmm. But then you got to the tribal dancing. It's like I don't know what to make.
Well, I mean, they've done some super weird stuff in the past. I mean, we talked about the Broadway thing before.
Weirder than Asus, where Asus's chairman just gets on stage and starts shouting.
I mean, to be clear,
that's not weird. That's incredible. Like I swear to God, my favorite gadget unveiling of all time was the pad phone, where Johnny Schiff has like a tablet right there. It's like, oh wait, check out this tablet. Oh wait, it's not a tablet. Reaches down, like the hand appears on the screen and pulls out the phone, and there's like really terrible jazzy music playing while he does it. It's the greatest thing. Like he's so earnest about this stuff that you have to love every minute of it. Samsung is overproduced, I think, to the point of tedium, but they know how to put on a very slick looking show, and that's kind of what they've been focusing on this past year and a half.
Well, I mean, I just found one of the other ones. So this was the 2015 CES TV event where they basically did like some weird Swan Lake thing. There was like a pool and stuff.
Oh God, yeah.
Like they're.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they're quite as weird as Sony's the one that goes real ham sometimes, right?
I haven't been to a real ham Sony thing.
Or was it Samsung? Was it Sam? No, it
Qualcomm has some real barn burners in its past. Like remember CES 2013? You had Big Bird, you had Archbishop Desmond Tutu, you had like just young people dancing around talking about how cool chips were. Like that was perhaps my favorite of all time.
Wasn't it Sony who had the kid that was running around in like the weird fur headdress or whatever? Or was that Samsung? I can't even remember anymore.
I think we need to rank the weirdest
God.
events we've covered.
Guys, there is some weird
we could do that,
shit that happens at some of these press conferences. It's really bizarre.
And we appreciate it. We appreciate that this makes our jobs more fun.
I did find some photos, by the way, from the Samsung weird Broadway event. That I feel like we should put some of this stuff in the description, the post for this, because it is a very bizarre thing. By the way, David Geffen Hall, just over 2,700 people.
Yeah. So it was obviously packed with journalists. They had people wearing orange lanyards, which I guess might have been like guests of the company or employees. Like, it was never really made clear to us what those people were. I should also point out that Samsung invited, as I understand it, this was part of a sweepstakes where if you like watched the Note 7 like battery live stream and like reached out and like had a conversation with Samsung about it, they flew 50 like random people, just like Note 7 owners. They each got +1s, airfare covered to New York. They stayed in the W, got $1,000 in spending money, $2,300 to cover the taxes for all the stuff they were going to get because they got the Gear 360. They're going to get an S8 Plus. They got the Gear VRs. Like, it felt like in a lot of ways they were trying to apologize to a very specific, outspoken group of people who got burned by the Note 7.
Ha.
But that might be the first pun that you've ever like expressed some kind of appreciation for.
I mean, because it was partially unintentionally. I don't think you said that meaning it.
You didn't notice
just
you
came
did.
out.
But like it felt, I was while Nathan and Evan, our new social guy, were just kind of doing some social videos of the S8. I got to talking with this guy who was out here with this girlfriend from Cleveland, just like taking in the sights and doing all this stuff. And he couldn't have been more open about everything that Samsung had done for them. And it felt on some level kind of strange. Like there's trying to win back consumer trust by building a good thing and not messing up in the future. It also feels like something else when you're, I don't know,
Straight up bribing them?
Yeah, you're paying people who
They're
who
trying
had
to buy your
issues.
love.
Yeah, and like for this guy, like sure, he had a great time. Like I'm sure he and his girlfriend are having a lovely time in the beautiful city of New York. But it feels ethically like a little off.
Yeah.
If it was framed as a sweepstakes, as I understand it was, like I guess that's one thing, but
It doesn't sound like it.
I don't
It
know.
sounds
It's
like they're
just-
trying to buy some love.
Were they under any obligation to like post positive stuff about the event or Samsung on social media?
I don't think so, but I think Samsung probably hoped that they would. Like they put them in a room with like Tim Baxter. They spoke to product experts. Like in a lot of ways, they got not quite tech journalist treatment with regard to access, but like pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
And like free hotel rooms and meals and all that stuff. Like they were very adamant about making sure, I think, that people who were truly concerned about the Note 7 got something for their concerns. Which, I don't know, it feels... I had to record the conversation with the guy because I'm like, wait, what? Like, this is happening to you? Like,
You have to like
really?
tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah. So he gets like halfway through his story. I'm like, wait, can you tell me all of that again while I'm recording it?
Any other weird stuff there? Anything else that you feel like is important to point out about the show?
I mean, not really. It felt very... I guess the one thing I will throw out there is that Samsung kind of continued with its very oblique references to sort of being sorry for the Note 7 battery stuff. In general, I suspect that they think that their January event, their live stream, whatever, like laying out the root cause, bringing up all those product experts to explain why these batteries failed in the specific manner that they did was kind of the end of the story, but you can't go into something like this and not sort of invoke that. And I think a lot of people there and a lot of people watching at home kind of wanted Samsung to just say, hey, like,
We're sorry.
We're sorry. Again, like those words did not appear. To my knowledge, I was live blogging at the time and taking photos. So if it did happen, feel free to call me out. But they're very hesitant to just say the words, we messed up, we're sorry. Like, that's kind of all you need, right? Like, I just need a moment of humanity and candidness from a company that messed up.
They've never actually said we're sorry?
They might have at the January thing. I would have expected something more concrete at this event, which we didn't really get. They talked about how the batteries would be safer and their commitment to safety and quality and innovation. But
I mean, they clearly just want to move on.
of course. And, like, who could blame them for that? But at an event like this where the comparisons are inevitable, and, by the way, at an event like this, taking place after it's been announced that the Note 7s are going to go on sale in other countries as refurbished devices, like, you kind of have to expect something,
Yeah.
right? Side note, I would totally buy a refurbished Note 7.
You are a braver man than I.
Like, we're going to Taipei for Computex. I might try and find one nearby and just like fly and get it and then come right back and then use that forever.
Well, you're typing on a refurbished Surface Book.
Yep, which looks a little less refurbished because I've got this fake wood going on there.
So fancy.
Yeah.
It looks not great. I'm not gonna lie.
I like it.
It's not the prettiest, but it gives it a little character.